Welcome back to the Deep Dive, everyone. I am Alex, and with me, as always, is the brilliant Jamie.
Always a pleasure, Alex. Every now and then, a piece of writing just slaps you across the face with its sheer audacity and truth. And the one we're diving into today, it's one of those.
Slaps you across the face is an understatement. I felt like I was reading a medical thriller mixed with a self-help manifesto. It's about this concept called good energy, and it fundamentally redefines how we look at health, disease, and frankly, our entire medical system.
Absolutely. Dr. Casey Means with Callie Means, she's really just ripped the Band-Aid off a massive systemic issue. She posits that pretty much every chronic disease, from the common stuff like diabetes and heart disease to things like infertility and even cancer, stems from one core problem: our cells' inability to produce and use energy effectively. She calls it bad energy.
Bad energy. So it's not just about feeling tired, it's about fundamentally what's going on inside every single cell in your body.
Exactly. It's the very essence of what makes you tick. If your cells don't have the energy to do their jobs, to keep you nourished, clear-minded, hormonally balanced, immune protected, then everything starts to unravel. It's like a city where the power grid is constantly sputtering. Nothing works right.
Okay, so she kicks off the book with this incredibly personal, gut-wrenching story about her mom. And honestly, Jamie, it got me. It's like the perfect illustration of everything she's talking about.
Oh, it's heartbreaking, isn't it? Her mom was told all the classic lines. It's normal to gain weight after a baby. High blood pressure is common for your age. High cholesterol is a rite of passage. Pre-diabetes, don't worry, it's just pre-disease. Alex, her mom was seeing 5 different specialists, taking 5 different medications, and being complimented for being healthy for her age, right up until 13 days before she died of stage 4 pancreatic cancer.
13 days, Jamie. That detail, it's just brutal. And the doctors called it unlucky. But Dr. Means is saying, hold on, it wasn't unlucky. It was a culmination of all these seemingly separate issues pointing to one core problem.
Precisely. All those isolated conditions, the high blood pressure, cholesterol, prediabetes, the weight gain, even her being a big-bodied baby at birth, Dr. Means argues they were all warning signs of the same thing: dysregulation in how her cells were producing and using energy. It wasn't bad luck. It was a predictable outcome of a broken system that manages symptoms rather than addressing the root cause.
So essentially, her mom's body was sending out little smoke signals for decades, and the medical system just kept giving her a new fire extinguisher for each puff of smoke instead of looking for the fire itself.
Such a great analogy, Alex. And that's the core of her critique of modern medicine. It's reductionist and fragmented. You specialize in one tiny part of the body, and you treat that part in isolation. You become a rhinologist for the nose, or an otologist for 3 square inches of the ear. She even talks about Dean Miner, an otologist who had a condition named after him for focusing his entire career on those 3 square inches.
Wait, hold on. She was a surgical resident in ENT, ear, nose, and throat surgery, right? So she was in that system, climbing that ladder. What made her snap out of it?
She had this profound waking up moment with a patient named Sophia. Sophia was 52, plagued by recurrent sinus infections, taking multiple medications, overweight, pre-diabetic, had high blood pressure, back pain, depression, all being treated by different doctors with different prescriptions. Sophia came to Dr. Means for sinus surgery because nothing else worked.
So Dr. Means, the surgeon, goes in, clears out the inflamed tissue, does the surgery, and then what? Sophia says, "You saved me." But Dr. Means feels defeated. Why?
Because she realized she hadn't saved Sophia. She had just temporarily relieved a downstream symptom of chronic inflammation. She knew Sophia would be back and that her other conditions, the prediabetes, the high blood pressure, the depression, were all still there, probably connected to the same underlying problem she hadn't touched. She felt like she was just cutting and billing, not healing.
That's a huge realization for a doctor deep in her residency, on track for a prestigious career. It's like seeing the Matrix for the first time.
Exactly. She was performing hundreds of these surgeries on inflamed sinus tissue, but no one ever taught her what causes the inflammation in the human body or its connection to the myriad of chronic diseases her patients also suffered from. She realized her job was to put out fires, but not to ask why the fires kept starting.
So she had this gut feeling that all these conditions, the sinusitis, the diabetes, the depression, were connected, right? But the system kept telling her to stay in your lane.
Yes, and it was Sophia's case that really pushed her over the edge. She couldn't cut into another patient without understanding why everyone was getting sick. So in 2018, on her 31st birthday, just months shy of completing her 5-year residency, she quit.
She quit with $500,000 in education debt and a wall full of awards? That's courage or madness or both.
It's a testament to her conviction. She felt the patients weren't getting better, and the system was incentivized to manage disease, not cure it. So she embarked on this quest to understand the real reasons people get sick. And what she found was this simple yet incredibly powerful concept: good energy, or metabolic health.
Metabolic health. We hear that term thrown around a lot, but she makes it sound like the key to everything.
Because it truly is. Metabolism isn't just about how fast you burn calories. It refers to the cellular mechanisms that transform food into the energy that powers every single cell in your body.
So if I'm understanding this, it's not just about what you eat, but how your cells use what you eat to make energy.
Spot on, Alex. And the central players in this energy production are these tiny organelles inside your cells called mitochondria. You probably remember them from high school as the powerhouse of the cell.
Oh yeah, the mitochondria. I remember that. It was always like the powerhouse of the cell, and then we'd move on. But she really drills down into why it's the powerhouse.
She does. They're these incredible transformers. They take the breakdown products of the food we eat, fatty acids from fats, glucose from carbohydrates, and convert them into the ultimate energy currency of the cell, ATP, adenosine triphosphate. This ATP is what pays for literally all cellular activity. Every second, trillions of chemical reactions happen in our bodies, and they all run on ATP.
Trillions of reactions, 88 pounds of ATP produced per day? That's mind-blowing. So if these mitochondria aren't working right, if they're struggling to make ATP, then everything falls apart.
Precisely. If your cells are underpowered, if they're metabolically dysfunctional and sputtering along, they're threatened. And what do threatened cells do? They send out chemical alarm signals. They recruit the immune system to help. And that, Alex, is chronic inflammation.
Ah, so the inflammation isn't the problem itself. It's a symptom of the problem, the bad energy in the cells.
Exactly. It's like the immune system is the fire department, and it rushes in because the cells are sending distress signals. But if the cells are constantly sending distress signals due to ongoing bad energy, the fire department never leaves. It just keeps pouring water on the problem, causing collateral damage, which shows up as pain, swelling, and eventually organ dysfunction.
Wow, so all those itis words you mentioned earlier, sinusitis, arthritis, tonsillitis, that's just the fire department perpetually on the job in different locations because the power grid in those cells is failing.
Yes, and she says that once she made that connection, it became utterly self-evident. Chronic inflammation is a crucial instigator of all kinds of diseases: cancer, cardiovascular disease, autoimmune conditions, neurological disorders, you name it. But conventional medicine focuses on treating the itis rather than asking why all that inflammation is there in the first place.
This is making so much sense. So why is this happening? Why are our cells suddenly so bad at making energy when, as she points out, wild animals don't suffer from rampant chronic disease?
That's where the evolutionary mismatch comes in. Our metabolic processes evolved over hundreds of thousands of years in sync with our environment. But in recent decades, our environment has changed profoundly and rapidly. Our cells are now exposed to conditions they simply aren't designed for.
Like what? What are these environmental conditions that are messing with our cells?
She lists a few major culprits. Our diet, for one. We're consuming astronomically more sugar, up to 3,000% more liquid fructose compared to a century ago. Then there's our movement patterns. We're far more sedentary. Our sleep patterns are disrupted. We're sleeping 25% less. Our stress levels are through the roof. And critically, we're exposed to over 80,000 synthetic chemicals in our food, water, and air.
80,000 chemicals. It's like our cells are trying to run on poisoned fuel in a constant state of emergency.
Precisely. These modern industrialized factors synergistically attack the machinery inside our cells that produce chemical energy. The result is widespread cellular dysfunction, which manifests as this explosion of chronic symptoms and diseases we're facing today.
And she brings it back to her mom, saying her mom experienced all the early warning signs of this brewing metabolic dysfunction: increasing waist size, suboptimal cholesterol, high fasting glucose, elevated blood pressure. And get this, 93% of Americans are in the danger zone on at least one key metabolic marker.
That statistic is terrifying, isn't it? It means most of us are walking around with some level of bad energy brewing, even if we don't feel acutely sick yet. And that's her crucial message. Those annoying,